The United Nations Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon met with Pope Francis in the Vatican at the end of April before going on to address a conference, exploring the moral issues connected to climate change.
This morning, I met His Holiness Pope Francis, and we discussed the various issues of this world, including particularly the climate change and sustainable development and migration. And there are many issues, but I'm ready to answer your questions.
The one-day international symposium was organized by the Pontifical Academy of Sciences and deals with the Christian imperative of stewardship of creation and vision of the announced encyclical of Pope Francis.
I told His Holiness that I'm looking forward to his encyclical as soon as possible. I was told that it may be issued sometime in June, but I'm not aware what it will contain. It's not my responsibility. It's in the hands of His Holiness, but I am very much encouraged that His Holiness is very much committed, and he assured me that he will work with the United Nations and world leaders, scientists, and faith leaders to help this realized for humanity. And about this responsibility, who needs to address this one?
Science and morality seem to cross regarding this problem.
I don't think religious leaders, faith leaders should be scientists. I'm not a scientist either. But what is clear, what is important is their moral commitment for political leaders, their political will. That is important.
At the same time, scientists met right outside the Vatican to talk about the same topic. The conference was organized by the Heartland Institute, a group that is very critical of the narrative of the human influence on climate change. They are trying to direct attention to the fact that this term could be linked with other issues in a misleading way.
I do think they've been instrumentalized, and I say that because I have seen that they're now using climate change and global warming as with a nexus and a connection with human trafficking. And when you see false science and false crises used to be bolstered by real crises, then you can start to recognize that there is something else going on. Overpopulation is in fact one of the canards that is used to push the abortion agenda and sterilization and reproductive family services that are being pushed by the UN.
This retired NASA scientist suggests that a different way of inquiry is needed, one that is based on physics. He hopes for the Pope to have a more balanced input.
We agree with the United Nations that the small amount of warming in their uncertainty band is realistic. The high warming that they predict comes from computer simulation models, not data. And at NASA, if your model is not validated, if it does not agree with physical data or experiment, you ignore it. But climate scientists don't ignore their model output. They treat it like it's just as valid as physical data. I think because it's been raised as a world alarm that the Pope should look into it. But I am concerned that his timetable for writing an encyclical and who I see that the Pope is talking to, that he may not have a chance to really look at the broader field of engineering and science that says there's not a problem. I would pray that the Pope would have discernment in looking at this problem and that he would listen to all scientists, not just the United Nations.
As in the past, Pope Francis opens the field for discussion. The encyclical is scheduled to be released this summer.